Salutations, Starshines, and welcome back to another Watch and Dissect! We are on the 5th episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared show. It is almost over. For those of you who only came to watch the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared show with me, thank you so much for joining on the ride. I know that's not even the last episode yet, but I will let you know. I am going to go over the original series as well afterwards, and after that I have a bunch of other things in store. So if you want to stay tuned for that, remember to subscribe, and if not, just hit that like button so I know that people like this content. But also thank you so much for the support on the previous video. Mun really enjoyed coming on. You may have noticed that I'm no longer in the void, and that is because I forgot to pay rent. So now I have transported my entire likeness inside a computer. There's something different. I don't know what it is, but it sounds... Blood clouds like you will see. You good, fam? Need a popsicle? So already the tone of this episode has been set to something very dark and very dreary. I wonder what the episode has in store. The way that the voice started trailing off into an echo, paired with the darkening atmosphere, honestly, that was brilliant. But also, Yellow Guy has the foreshadowing, which it kind of reminds me of the fact that people are basically saying that this simulation has been repeated before, which there is a lot of evidence towards that, especially with, you know, what the lamp said about what happens after you die. That, you know, basically you're rewarded with a coin if you, like, play your part correctly. And considering how that might work, it's no surprise that there might be some kind of, like, issue where sometimes they vaguely remember something. Though considering that Yellow Guy is very impressionable and visibly younger, I do think that that does contribute to the fact that he has very vivid dreams about it. Which in any source of media is absolutely terrifying. Rat shin. Pie. Egg soup. Tumbler. Flour. Flowers or ferret? I can't read that. It's actually very blurry on my end. The notepad is out of focus. And then there's just help. And then that character. Which I know it has been theorized that those are the names or the alphabet. Well, it clearly is the alphabet considering, you know, the keyboard on the computer guy. Though I'd just like to say that I love that little image of the three. I believe we have an artist in the family. Ah, he's the Azabub. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, to rank up the stuff that, Duck has done in this, series so far. Not all of them, obviously, but, they are, but not limited to, causing a disturbance in the workplace via a megaphone, creating an eldritch abomination and then promptly getting it to kill itself, throwing a bread child into a toaster, biting Yellow Guy while he has rabies, murdering his doppelganger. I can't remember the other stuff he did, but I'm pretty sure he did a lot more. But now, he just... This is the equivalent of taking somebody's entire body and just slamming it against someone else just to flatten them. Clearly he's done it before to that clipboard, because it just seems unfazed. Ice go wonk. Ice go wonk. I don't think I've spoken much about the puppetry yet, but honestly, I absolutely adore the way that Duck's puppet works. Because his neck can literally just go 180 degrees if he wanted to. Like, literally, you could be talking shit about him, and this bitch would just snap his head 180 degrees and then wind it back around a full, like, 360. Though, considering how loose it is, I wonder how many times his head fell off during production.
Yeah, on the clipboard.
That clipboard is like the best thing he's ever seen from what he said.
This is probably definitely the best day of my life.
I absolutely love the writing. It's very consistent, and I love it. And I just like with every episode, Red Guy just gets more and more impatient. You can clearly tell from his posture, his voice, despite the fact he doesn't, like, show his emotions that much. The actor does a very great job of finding other ways for Red Guy to express himself.
Hold on. Can you
The lobster has something to say.
One tile?
Look, the floor should just be one thing. Just put it down as one floor.
I have my own system. Don't get involved.
Hey,
Wait, I'm actually curious. Hold on. That is 18 tiles across. And let's assume that where this radiator starts is where the half point of the room is, so... And that would be 14 tiles long. So if he were to individually... Oh, fuck. So if he were to individually list them all off, list them all as one tile, he would have a grand total of around 250 tiles. The amount I actually got was 250. The actual amount that I got was 252, but I'm not entirely sure how long it is. I'll figure that out later. But if he were to individually list them off, he would have just over 250 different things listed off. And from the looks of it, each page, at the rate that he's writing, will have 6 items listed. So for the tiles alone, that would mean he would need a little over 42 pages for the tiles alone. Though honestly, you gotta respect the dedication, because pretty sure all of them know that they're trapped at this point, and they just make sure that, you know, things are the same, so... This is actually something that people with, like, derealization symptoms do. Basically, they kind of assess the entire room. Maybe not as intense as this here. It does work as a system, but literally all he could do was list off how many tiles across and upwards there are. That would save him a whole lot of paper, man. And like, what are you going to do when you assess the paper? Do you need to go out and get more paper? Chances are he might actually include it no matter if you read on them. Though, I'm pretty sure with the way that the writing happens, there would be like an entire 30-second segment where he's wondering where the papers went. And then Red Guy just kind of snaps and tells him, it's like, they're right there. You wrote on them. Anyways, that was completely useless information. I can stay on track, I swear.
Well, I say put the clipboard in the bin, because I hate the clipboard.
The way that his final word was just so depressive, like it's not like he said, because I hate the clipboard. No, he said, because I hate the clipboard. And you know, it's not like he said it like, it's because I hate the clipboard. No. He said it like, because I hate the clipboard. It's that delivery that makes all the difference in what he's saying. However, they don't care because, you know, he just insulted the clipboard, which is apparently a very valued member of the family. Just the line delivery, as well as the posture. I absolutely adore the work that the writers have put into this, as well as the actors.
So, vegetables or something.
What on earth are you talking about?
I mean, don't you want to see something else? Something different?
huh?
Honestly, I agree with Red Guy. Personally, I can't stand it when things stay the same. For example, I'm going to be going into college soon, and I want to dorm there because I'll be doing photography. And, if I'm stuck in the same spot for too long, I do tend to get very, I get very anxious, and it's really hard for me to get inspiration. And if I'm in a dorm, then I would be able to kind of put myself in different situations, rather than just staying home with a curfew and certain rules. So honestly, if I was in Red Guy's position, I would be wanting the same thing and probably be driven mad by the fact that everyone else is like, man, what the fuck are you talking about? This is normal. I don't see what you mean. Earthquake, earthquake, earthquake. Down with Malcolm. What? That little thing?
Oh, right. This kind of thing.
Oh yeah, one of these guys.
I like the tune in the background.
What? What's this, a toy?
Absolutely no one said that, you old fuck. I don't know why I say it like that. Hold on, let me rephrase it. Absolutely no one said that, you dumb fuck. Sorry, I tend to. I'm sorry, okay, I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Because can I just take a moment to appreciate our buddy the clock. He's just completely wiped out. I also appreciate the consistency of the scenes. Like, for example, we have the clipboard that's still in the sad position when they could have decided to remove it, but no. They decided to keep it consistent. And also the sound design was brilliant. You could almost like hear how dense everything was. Sound design makes all the difference, especially with like volume, how muffled it is, how sharp or soft it is, things like that. And what I mean by sharp sounds is that there are certain sounds that will stick out like a sore thumb, no matter the volume sometimes. Like, for example, this is a sharp sound. Like, for example, this is a sharp sound. As opposed to something like this. That's what I consider sharp and soft sounds. Not necessarily the volume, but the frequency. The higher the frequency, the more likely it will stick out. The softer the sound, the more likely it'll blend in with the rest. One thing that I see a lot of series struggle with, especially when, especially if it's not like a higher end production, something that I notice a lot of people struggle with, sound design wise, is that either the timing's off, or the frequencies don't really make that much sense. Either that, or there's a lack of change of frequency. Sometimes people would have everything as the same volume. When everything has different volumes, different sound waves, different frequencies, things like that. The earthquake scene, along with all the other rattling objects and stuff, especially considering where the camera was placed at certain times, where certain things got louder and certain things got softer and more muffled, perfect. I adore. And also the consistency with the positions that everything else is in. It's just these small things that I like to appreciate.
I don't know about that. I'm a train. Now,
He just fucking assaulted him. Jesus Christ. Red guy, call the caps. Got the caps, old sport. That's a deranged old man. Even Duck looks astonished.
here's my very special, very warm drink.
He's drinking oil. There's no other way I can put this. He's drinking oil.
You're leaking quite a
The
lot.
fucking flower died.
No. So, you're not
I can't tell if that's concern or fear. Probably a mix of both.
tickets, please. There you go. Oh. Bicycle or even in a car. Wow.
His eyebrows just fell off. I also like the attention to details, like with right here. They changed it to a little Muppet. Hans.
Transport. Oh. Is that supposed? Doesn't matter.
The other guy's just trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, but honestly, look at how happy he is. Look at the lad. And it seems like they're going to Mulhaven. Mulhaven? Or Mulhaven. I don't know how to pronounce that. What the fuck? That was very clever character design, but also, like, they just look confused, concerned, fearful. There's a dead man in their fucking living room. They're just completely desensitized. And Red is just desperate.
Lesson number 40. Reverse parallel parking on an incline. Firstly,
I just had flashbacks to my driving class. We watched an entire video on parallel parking on an incline. I remember none of it. I just remember that I had never heard the words parallel parking so many times until that very day. And to this day, I still don't know how to parallel park. I'm a dead man. I only have a permit. I'm gonna fail that driver's test. I'm not gonna be able to get a job. Let's continue watching, by the way.
Number 92. Dominating the road. Handbrake turns around tight corners at high speed are a great way to impress new colleagues.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I have nothing else to say, just don't do that.
Hey, look, I can see our TV.
You know, they could have just had them cut to like cheery music, but the fact that the music stays ominous and unfamiliar, it really captures, you know, it really captures the emotion of these two, despite the fact that their facial features are not really able to express the way that we're familiar with. And I say that because these puppets, in their own ways, are very expressive in, you know, different areas. Ah yes, I too love to drive in a corpse. The way that everything's just trying to tell them, basically, turn back now, you are not going to like... Hold on, I scared myself. The way that everyone's just trying to tell them, like, turn back now, you are making a huge mistake. And yet they keep pressing forward, through the fires, through the gates of hell, as they make their way to heaven. What the fuck?
Hey guys, drink this space alcohol and come with me to the 6th dimension.
How goes it, fellow children? I want to see more of these. I want to see more of this guy. Wait a second. Does this mean digital time was... Because, like... Forgive me, I've been on Tumblr for too long.
They're not here.
Oh, what?
He sounded so disappointed. He's in love with his shredder. That's what I get from this. I know beforehand we knew that he'd seen better days, but he's definitely seen better days than this.
When I look out through it, it looks back in through me.
I have no words that you guys aren't already thinking. Yet, despite the fact that this is all absolutely terrifying or eerie, we just keep watching. How long has that man been there? It's interesting how Yellow Guy is imagining all this in, like, a very dated way. The projector screen. Nice hair, shoes, bank. It's the twins! And they look a little less terrifying. Vacuum cleaner shop. Huh, I didn't know they were in such demand. The Duguk. The Duguk.
Oh, careful.
Oh, that escalated quickly. The transition and the cutaway was absolutely perfectly timed, but just Jesus Christ, the yelling can catch anyone off guard. That's absolutely terrifying. Just like imagine like, okay, picture this, but imagine that you're something very tiny, like just using the unconscious corpse, or at least a presumed corpse, of a human. You're manipulating it with like robotics and stuff. And then it just wakes up.
Beneath the earth, with the last remnants of the ancient ones.
What do you say? Raisins? Yeah.
The Ancient Ones? Lovecraft? That lore that we're never going to explore just, oh my god. The soundtrack strikes again, Jesus Christ. Welcome to the post-apocalypse where everything is just reduced to rubble. And trash. And an office chair, apparently. Okay, I know this is horrendously off-topic and off-beat, but I just imagined, like, I know they obviously set this place up, but if they didn't, imagine what you would have to say to the people who own the junkyard. Just like, hey, can we walk around to film something and with, like, some puppets and just... I'd also like to point out that the use of, the blur with the camera, they don't do it all the time. unless they need to establish something or to kind of obscure something. Which, me personally, I like using blurs, especially background blurs. Might put some photos that I've taken. Actually, no. Here's some photos that I've taken where I've done such a thing. It can make a picture and a video come together very nicely. However, if you use it all the time, it starts to lose its impact, especially in film. Now, in imagery, it's a little different. That could be like, your style or something. However, if you don't change it up and it's just the same thing over and over again, it starts to lose its meaning and its impact. Here it works, especially considering how unfamiliar everything is, and they want you to focus on one thing at a time. The changes in placement of the characters count as well. Like when I took a film class, one thing that my teacher put major emphasis on was that you don't want to use the same scene setup as previous, and you don't want it to linger for too long. The cutaways to different angles and stuff, as well as like different scenery, different camera positions and camera views, sometimes even perspectives. It keeps you visually enticed, and it helps everything come together a lot nicely instead of giving the impression that it drags. I would like to point out, I don't think they actually went anywhere. Now hear me out. Surely they did cross a threshold, but I don't think they actually went anywhere. Like, if you notice the way that things glitch out and stuff, obviously it's a simulation of some sort. A simulation or a trap of some sort, but I feel like it's more than that. I feel like it's the last remnants of something that once was. And what they're seeing is the stuff that's actually around them as they're in the house. I don't think there actually was a landscape. I believe that there is just some sort of a perspective altering. And the reason I think that is that if you look in this fridge right here, I think that's a fridge. But if you look in this box right here, you can see that the can is still there. And I know that's kind of reaching, but just imagine having this all around you and you're just delusioned by some outside force that everything's just different. Now, I know that a lot of people with this episode have a hard time understanding it. But the thing is, all you need to really understand it is that, they're trapped. The entire time, Red Guy has been, tense about the fact that he knows that they're trapped and he wants out. And essentially what happens is that, they're in this endless loop. This loop that they have likely been trying to get out of for a while, one way or another. And the reason why I say that some people find this confusing is, I have seen the comment sections of certain clips of this episode talking about, how this was, the weirdest episode or the most confusing to understand. But once you... And if that happens with any series or episode, one thing that I highly recommend is to watch things scene by scene and paraphrase them for yourself. And what I mean by that is that when you see a scene, make sure that you take the time to understand that scene before going to the next one. You could watch everything in one go, yes, but make sure to stop and slow down and paraphrase what happens moments before if you're finding it hard to understand. Now, there are things like this that are meant to be a little obscure. Paraphrasing still helps, especially if you're making your own theories or trying to fill in the blanks. It's also a neat trick to help with comprehension if you struggle with that. That's actually something that I learned in my AP literature class. And I know that a lot of people actually interpret this episode different than all the others, which honestly, I love hearing your guys' different interpretations of this episode, and this episode was a lot different than the rest of the episodes. And by that alone, it really stands out. But it's also one of the most impactful episodes. By having this tone shift and a different format than the rest of the episodes, it establishes how important this episode is before you get to the next one. And I'd also like to point out that Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared has always been and always will be about breaking cycles or being stuck in cycles. For example, in the original show, before Red Guy pulled the plug, they were essentially all stuck in the same loop on the same day. They made it very clear that they were all on the same, calendar date. Father's Day. And things only progressed when things played out correctly and things were literally pulled on. Which I do think a certain sequence needs to occur in order for them to break out of this loop, which they don't. Unless they plan another season, which I'm not too sure. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. But before I let you go, I do plan on making merch soon on Teespring, so... However, I won't be having any limited edition as of right now because I do know that a lot of my audience probably doesn't have money. And also make sure that it's not like wildly expensive. But if you're interested, let me know what kind of merch you'd like to see. I do plan on making general designs, not just on brand to this channel, but also just short designs in general. Something for everyone. Of course, I will have to design all of them first, which is going to be the hardest part, but I'm willing. But anyways, I'll see you next time, Starshines.